Pfizer share is up more than 3%. This was largely expected that they would ultimately get this full approval by the FDA. Is it just kind of a pull forward in timing that the market's excited about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Meg. So a couple of things I'd say. One, I think, just getting the certainty that it came through, maybe a little bit earlier than people were expecting. We've obviously seen the stock do very, very well over the past few weeks in anticipation of this. I think also just general news around the booster opportunity has gotten a lot of play in the stock. And then we saw also they did a small bolt-on acquisition this morning. So I think people liking that they're putting some of the cash to use. So I think a number of factors, but obviously the approval is the big news for sure.
Does it change your modeling at all? Because I saw that your current price target is $43 a share, which is about a 16% discount to where the shares are trading today. How are you factoring in things like the Delta variant, the need for boosters, the potential approval for children under the age of 12 into your modeling right now?
Yeah, so we have what we think is pretty robust sales estimates for the vaccine. We do have about $33 billion this year, as Pfizer has guided to. That could certainly go a little higher as they've made other agreements, and maybe with the full approval for sure. Next year we have $16 billion. In 2023 we have $8 billion, and then we have sort of $1 to $2 billion in the years beyond that. So obviously, if there's a need for recurring boosters, those numbers would need to go up a little bit. It's been such a rapidly evolving situation; it's been tough to sort of keep up with the sales that they're generating here. But there probably is certainly some upside to our numbers right now. But I think we're trying to see how this all plays out before giving too much credit. And is this going to be an annual booster, or is it maybe people just get a third shot and then they're sort of done at that point? I think that's where there's still a little bit of uncertainty, I think, from a scientific perspective.
Yeah, well, what about the stock overall, Vamil? I mean, it is interesting. It's finally exceeded its 20-year high, I would note, with this recent breakout. Can it go a lot higher from here?
So it's interesting. I think as we talk to fundamental investors, I think people struggle with the extent of the move that it's had recently. They certainly are getting a lot of sales and a lot of cash from the vaccine. Still a lot of questions about their outlook in 2026 to 2029, when they're going to lose about 18 to 20 billion of sales on some of their key current growth drivers. So I think the key really is going to be, what do they do with this cash? We saw, again, the deal this morning. They had another transaction a few weeks ago in the oncology space. Do they make wise investments with that cash? And if so, then certainly there could be a lot more upside. The multiple could go a lot higher. I think we've seen, not just Pfizer, but all the companies, sometimes they make good deals, sometimes they're not so good. So we're sort of taking a little bit of a wait and see to see what they actually do with the cash before just giving them implicit credit for solving that massive issue that they have in the later part of the decade. So it could still run a little bit here on all this positive news flow. But then I think it'll probably settle back until we get a little more certainty around what happens beyond 2025.